So this is an update video on my ultrasonic cleaning and a reassembly of my Zenith Carb 48 VIR off the Bedford Petrol 300, and what I've had managed to fix successfully, which has troubled me for years, is the idle mixture richness was always way too lean. It was about 13.5 to a 14 fuel ratio. And to get them to run smoothly at idle, it really needs to be about 11.5 to 12. So it always run really rough. And when you run these carburetors lean at idle, a symptom of it being too lean is when you turn them off, they will run on, even with the ignition turned off and no sparks. So they run on, and this one would run backwards and would spit raw fuel out the top of the carburetor, which can be a bit frightening. But the root cause of my lean running condition on this carb, this has been replaced, this throttle body down the bottom, was because on the one that was faulty, it was causing a lean idle. Even adjusting the screw wouldn't make it rich enough. This bung on the old one had been hammered in and it cracked the side of the casing casting, so this is cast iron. And it was allowing air to sneak in and wasn't giving enough vacuum to draw sufficient fuel from the float bowl at idle. So that was the root cause of the problem. So we'll go and have a look at the offending parts. So this is a spare carburetor I've got laying around, which I've used for bits. But this is the throttle body that came off it, and what I've done is tried to braze up the offending plug there because of some cracks which were just down, just down in here, two tiny little cracks running down the side, and that was enough to allow air to come into the carburetor, or air to thin down the mixture. And you can see the two drillings down there where the fuel goes in on the throttle body plate. So what we'll do is we'll go start her up and I'll play around with the mixtures and I'll show you what idles nicely and what doesn't. So we'll crank her up to see if it behaves. So off the button it's idling much nicer. And the revs are sufficiently low that you can't see any extra fuel coming in or bleeding in off the high-speed running port, which is that guy there. So we'll have a look at the fuel mixtures. So that's the fuel mixture ratio at idle, which is about 12.5, and it runs very smooth at that. So what we'll do is we'll adjust the mixtures via the idle mixture screw now. So the idle mixture screw is this guy down here, and we'll go back and I'm going to screw this in and I'll show you on the airflow ratio meter getting richer. So it's a little bit tricky to do this with two hands, but you can see the air fuel ratio mixture there, the one on the top with the red LCD going. So we'll screw it in and you should see it get richer. So I've just taken it in 1/4 of a turn and you can see it getting richer and richer. So if you take it another 1/4 of a turn in, and that's about full richness now, that's screwed right in. So if we take it out, you'll see it's running very smoothly at the moment because it's running rich. Like I said, if you run them rich, they run smooth and they don't overrun when you turn them off. But we screw that out now, we'll take it round to about 14. The engine will get quite rough and start to miss a little bit. So the idling's a little bit rougher now. I'll take you back and I'll show you the motor rocking around a little bit. That's her running there. She's shaking a little bit. You can maybe be able to hear it miss every so. So that's with the very lean, that's nearly at 15 on the fuel ratio. So about a ratio of about 15, doesn't run very well. So if you run them nice and rich at idle, about 11.5 to 12, they run really nice. So we'll take it back round to full richness now. Richness. So it's about 12, run around to about 11.8, and she'll run really nice about there. So there you have it, fuel ratios at idle for the old Zenith 48 VIR carburetor. Okay, so we'll shut it down now, and it shouldn't overrun because we're running the fuel ratio nice and rich. Done. Perfect, and that's the way it should be. There you go, that's a quick rundown on the old Zenith 48 carburetor and the idle circuit. Now if we look at the block diagram for it, you can see it's actually split into two, but these guys are the two drillings in the bottom of the throttle body that allow the fuel to enter in for the idle circuit. They come up through this adjusting screw, and this is where it can suck air in if you open up the screw. It makes the mixture leaner at idle, and this little dotted line is where it picks up the raw fuel from the float bowl through these series of galleries. And this guy here is this guy here. Oh, that's the position in the float bowl for the jet, I should say. So anyway, there you have it. Hope that's of any help to someone. Not many people play around with these old girls anymore. Alright, thanks for watching. See you later.